You've done it. You hit the magic number. You're 60 years old, and looking at your account balance, you see exactly $1 million saved for retirement. It feels like the finish line, doesn't it? You uncork the champagne, you tell your boss goodbye, but then the questions start creeping in at 3 o'clock in the morning. Is it actually enough? If you retire today, how much can you safely spend next month? Is it $3,000, $5,000? And the terrifying one, if the market crashes tomorrow, do you have to go back to work at 62? Here's the scary truth that financial advisors whisper about but barely say out loud. 2 people can retire on the exact same day with the exact same $1 million. One runs out of money at age 75 and is forced to move in with their kids. The other dies wealthy at 95, leaving a massive legacy. The difference isn't luck. It's not picking better stocks. It's a strategy. Today, we're throwing out the outdated 4% rule. We're going to break down exactly how to spend that $1 million using what I call the 3 chapters framework. We're going to expose the silent wealth killer that almost nobody plans for, the tax torpedo. And I'm going to show you how to build spending guardrails so you never run out of money. Let's get your paycheck replaced. Welcome back. I'm Jacqueline Schadeck. And if you're new here, I'm a financial planner who helps people transition from saving money, which you're obviously good at, to spending money. And trust me, those are 2 completely different skill sets. Saving requires discipline. Spending requires courage. So let's get straight to the $1 million question. How much can you spend? If you Google this right now, you'll immediately run into the 4% rule. It's the vanilla ice cream of retirement advice. It says take 4% of your portfolio in year 1, that's $40,000, and then adjust that amount for inflation every year after that. Sounds simple, right? It's elegant. It's easy to calculate. But here's the problem. Life isn't linear. You do not spend money in a straight line. You spend it in chapters. Think about it. At 60, you have energy, health, and time. You want to travel to Italy, fix up the kitchen, and spoil the grandkids. At 85, you may have time, but do you have the same energy? Probably not. You're likely not hiking Machu Picchu at 85. Research from JP Morgan and the Employee Benefit Research Institute shows that real spending naturally drops as we age through retirement. Households age 65 plus typically spend about 26% less than households age 55 to 64. If you follow the 4% rule blindly, you often end up underspending in your best years. You pinch pennies at 62, saying no to the family trip, only to leave behind a massive pile of unused money at 90 while you played it safe. That's not the goal. The goal is utility. The goal is life. Instead of a straight line, we need a dynamic plan. We need the spending to smile. So let's talk about the first chapter, what I call the go-go years, usually age 60 to 70, sometimes pushing to 75. This is the most fun phase of retirement. But mathematically, it is also the most dangerous because of a little monster called sequence of returns risk. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine John. John retires today with his $1 million. He plans to withdraw $50,000 a year, but in his very first year of retirement, the market drops 20%. This is a nightmare scenario. Now John isn't withdrawing from $1 million anymore. He's withdrawing from $800,000. And because he still took out his $50,000 to live on, his balance is actually down to $750,000. Now, here is the math that kills portfolios. To get back to even, the market doesn't need to go up 20%. It needs to go up 33%. That hole is incredibly hard to climb out of. If this happens early in retirement, your portfolio can enter a death spiral that you can never recover from, even if the market does great later on. This is why set it and forget it spending is dangerous. Instead, we use guardrails. Think of it like bowling bumpers. You don't set a spending number in stone, you set a range. Let's say your initial target is $5,000 a month. If markets have a great year and your portfolio grows by 10%, you give yourself a raise. You take that extra trip, you upgrade the car, you enjoy the winnings. If markets are down significantly, you don't panic. You tighten the belt just slightly. Maybe you don't adjust for inflation this year. Maybe the kitchen remodel waits a little bit. The key is flexibility, and here's the controversial part that surprises a lot of people. In your go-go years, your spending should be higher. You're traveling, you're dining out. You might be helping adult children with a down payment. A lot of 60-year-olds are terrified to touch their principal. They tell me, I only want to spend the dividends. I only want to spend the interest. But here's the reality. If you have $1 million and you want to actually enjoy your 60s, you might need to spend $50, $60, maybe even $65,000 per year at the beginning. Way more than the 4% rule suggests, as long as you have a plan to adjust later. There's no prize for being the richest person in the graveyard. If you're thinking, okay, this sounds great, but I don't know how to calculate the guardrails, I just want to know if I can afford the vacation. That's exactly what I help people with. I've put a link below where you can book a quick discovery call. We'll look at your specific numbers and whether your spending is sustainable or if it's quietly headed toward a cliff. Now, to fund these expensive go-go years, we need to pull one of the biggest levers you have, Social Security. Most people treat Social Security like a hot potato. They rush to claim it at 62 because they're afraid it won't be there later, or they just want the cash flow now. But if many people with $1 million portfolio, that decision is possibly a mistake, a six-figure mistake. Let's look at the income gap. If you retire at 60, you have no paycheck and no Social Security, yet you have a gap. Your portfolio has to bridge that gap entirely. And yes, at first that feels incredibly scary. You watch your account balance drop month after month because you're living purely off savings. Your instincts scream at you to stop spending because you're bleeding money. But this is often strategic. By delaying Social Security until age 70, you are locking in an inflation-adjusted income stream that is roughly 66% higher than if you had claimed at 62. 66%. Think about that. Where else can you get a guaranteed 8% annual return in this market? So the strategy looks like this. In your early retirement years, your portfolio does the heavy lifting. It drains a bit faster, and that's okay because at age 70, Social Security kicks in like the cavalry. Suddenly, you have a massive guaranteed monthly check hitting your account. This reduces the pressure on your investments later in life, exactly when healthcare costs might start to rise. This creates the retirement smile. Spending is high early on, it dips in the middle and rises again near the end. If you plan for a flat spending line, you are planning for a life you won't live. Now, here is the big warning. There is a silent killer waiting in the next chapter. Welcome to the slow-go years, usually age 75 to 85. You're still active, but you aren't flying to Europe twice a year. Discretionary spending naturally drops, but this is where the $1 million illusion gets exposed. If most of your money is sitting in a traditional IRA or 401k, you do not fully own that $1 million. You own it in a partnership with the IRS, and the IRS is the senior partner. Every dollar you pull out is taxed as ordinary income. And then age 73 or 75 comes, and the government mandate kicks in those required minimum distributions. The government forces you to withdraw money whether you need it or not so they can tax it. If you haven't planned ahead, here's what happens. You have your big Social Security check because you waited until 70, and you have these forced required minimum distribution withdrawals from your IRA. These two income streams stack on top of each other and push you into a higher tax bracket than when you were working. and it triggers what we call the tax torpedo. When your income crosses certain thresholds, it doesn't just increase your income tax, it makes up to 85% of your Social Security benefits taxable, and it can double or triple your Medicare premiums through IRMA. Suddenly, your effective marginal tax rate is at 22%. It can spike over 40 or 50% on those specific dollars. This is why the planning you do in your 60s matters so much. This is where Roth conversions come in. Remember that gap we talked about earlier, age 60 to 70? That's your golden window. During those years, your taxable income is artificially low because Social Security hasn't started and required minimum distributions haven't kicked in. You intentionally fill up those low tax brackets by converting some of your traditional IRA money into Roth money. You pay taxes now, known at low rates, so that future growth comes out tax-free forever. You're diffusing the tax bomb before it goes off. This is where most DIY plans fall apart. People focus purely on investment returns and completely ignore tax efficiency. They save 1% in fees and lose 20% to unnecessary taxes. If you want to see what a Roth strategy would look like for your specific situation, I encourage you to book a complimentary call with my team. We can model your taxes over the next 20 years and see exactly how much you could save. Finally, let's talk about the last chapter, the no-go years, typically age 85 and beyond. Most of us have seen people like this before. It's the stage where people fear it the most. They fear running out of money. They fear being a burden. But remember what we built. You optimize Social Security so you have a strong guaranteed income floor that lasts as long as you do. You manage taxes so you aren't leaving money to the IRS when you need it for care. Now, whatever is left of that $1 million portfolio becomes your safety net, effectively your long-term care fund. And if you don't need it for care, that becomes your legacy for your kids or charity, ideally in a tax-free Roth account because of the planning you did years earlier. So let's answer the question, I'm 60 with $1 million, how much can I spend? The answer isn't a single number, it's a strategy. You can spend more than you think early on if you stay flexible with guardrails. You can protect yourself from inflation by investing for growth, not just safety. And you can preserve your wealth by being smarter than the average taxpayer. Retirement shouldn't feel like scarcity. It shouldn't feel like a math problem that keeps you up at 3 a.m. It should feel like competence. You worked for 40 years. Your plan should work just as hard for you. If you're approaching 60 or you're already there and afraid to spend, don't guess. I've opened up a few slots specifically for viewers of this video. Click the link below or the pinned comment. Let's look at your numbers and build a roadmap that lets you sleep at night and enjoy your life during the day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.